Tel Burna is an ancient tell located in the Judean Shvela that was inhabited continuously from the early Bronze Age, around 3500 BCE, until the Persian period, around 400 BCE. In the Hebrew Bible era, the Shvela was a region peopled by three major polities: the Canaanites, the Philistines, and the Judahites. Tel Burna is located on the northern bank of the Nahal Guvrin, one of five principal east-west oriented valleys in the Shvela that served as ancient routes, connecting the main coastal road, the International Coastal Highway, or Via Maris, to the Shvela Highlands. In addition, Tel Burna is situated just west of the Azekah Tel Goded Ridge that served as a natural physical border during the Iron Age too, between Philistine Gath and the Judahite towns of the central Shvela, including Tel Burna. The tell's important topographical connections, its naturally elevated defensive position above surrounding valley, and its close proximity to the water source of the Nahal Guvrin demonstrate that Tel Burna was a logical location for an ancient town and therefore promised many rich discoveries. A typical day on an excavation begins by waking up at about 5 a.m. At about 5:20 a.m., we leave for the tell. It takes about 20 minutes to get there. To save time, some excavators begin applying sunscreen while driving. When arriving at the site, there is a 10-minute hike up the tell. Toward the end of the excavation season, the walk takes about 15 minutes. When arriving at the top, excavators are rewarded with an amazing sunrise every morning. The first thing that we do is to raise the shade cloths because it gets very hot while excavating. After the tents are up, we gather the tools and head to our squares. Excavation starts at about 6 a.m. Most of the volunteers and excavators are divided into separate squares. Supervisors bring buckets to the squares, and that's where we keep the pottery sherds. Some squares also use buckets to gather dirt, while other squares are using a more ancient tool called gufas. We gather all the dirt, rubble, and rocks into a wheelbarrow and dump it off the tell. Breakfast starts at about 9 a.m. It's usually a wide variety of kosher sandwiches with choices of cheese, eggs, tuna, and vegetables. Breakfast is not as social since everyone is enjoying their first meal of the day. At 9:30, the excavations continue. While excavating, archaeologists use many different tools. A pick is used for faster digging, usually of bulks and not so important areas. Brushes are usually used when we're done with removing the dirt and preparing the square for pictures. Trowels and dustpans are used to remove smaller amounts of dirt, and hand picks, or patishim, are used to dig in smaller areas, while turias are used to remove large amounts of dirt. After an exhausting excavation of a couple of hours, at 11:15 a.m., we have a fruit break, which mostly consists of eating watermelon and chatting with fellow volunteers. Around 12:30, we start making final measurements. We enter our notes and take pictures of squares for photogrammetry. After that, we bring all the tools under the shade cloth and cover them. The hike down the Tel takes place at about 12:45 p.m. and is usually much faster than the hike up in the morning. By 1 p.m. we are already on the road, hurrying to make it to lunch at 1:30. Also, traffic laws are more loose in the Middle East. Lunch is usually a buffet style and is amazing, just what our bodies need after a morning on a Tel. After lunch, around 2:30 p.m., we begin our pottery washing, which is then followed with pottery reading. At 6 p.m. on most nights, we have a lecture. It's usually related to the archaeology of the ancient Near East. Dinner is at 7 p.m. It's similar to lunch, except that most of the excavators have showered by then. Around 8 p.m., everyone gathers on the porch and plays guitar, chats, or catches up on articles.